Hey everyone, welcome to my channel where we're doing music covers, original music, album reviews, song reviews, a little social commentary here and there, whatever the day calls for. If you like what you see here, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you have content on here, I'll subscribe to you as well. I'm all about supporting up and comers on here. I've been waiting quite a while for this release. One of my favorites, if not my actual favorite, guitarist, multi-instrumentalist, and songwriter Joshua Travis released a brand new EP yesterday called No Rest. My first introduction to his work was the third album from the Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza. Um, Being a huge fan of the now broken up Sky Eats Airplane, whose 2008 self-titled album I just did a retrospective review on this week. The announcement that their former vocalist Jerry Roosh was starting a new band with Josh Travis, Glass Cloud, that had my full attention. And while I was waiting for that album to drop, I fully delved into anything of Josh Travis's work that I could find. And in doing that, I really ended up getting into the Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza #4. Um, But yeah, Glass Cloud eventually dropped their full length only album, The Royal Thousand, and that just blew my mind. It had equal parts the chaotic polyrhythmic madness that Josh Travis does with, what Jerry brought to Sky Eats Airplane, not the synth stuff so much, not that part of their sound, but just basically what Jerry brought to the band with his style of vocals. And it definitely showed a more melodic side to Josh Travis also. It showed Josh really up in his game on what he writes and plays, and it also showed Jerry really up in his game on his scream. He did a bunch more things on Glass Cloud vocally than he did on Sky's Airplane, but his performance on both releases, I just can't say enough good things about. But much like Sky's Airplane, Glass Cloud didn't make it. Um, they released an EP after the Royal Thousand, and it was good too, but um, it definitely showed signs of just kind of like a lack of ideas, and just kind of was more just kind of like a Meshuggah sounding album. EP rather, from start to finish. But it was a good listen. But after Glass Cloud dissolved, he joined Amure. And despite being bummed about Glass Cloud, while I don't love everything they do, Amure's music, particularly their more recent music, definitely does something for me and has definitely been just what the doctor ordered for a soundtrack to how I'm feeling inside more times than I can count. There are definitely enough songs I love from their Speaker of the Dead, Slave to the Game, and Eternal Enemies albums to make a banger of a mix CD. And although those albums have their throwaway tracks, they got enough bangers to throw something together, and it's good for getting the anger out, good for working out too. And Frankie has a way of, sometimes putting things out there in a way that other lyricists might be afraid to. And, you know, I was super down for a Josh Travis led Amure, 100%. It had the potential for dark, brutal, and chaotic, albeit simpler bangers because it's Amure. And his debut with the band, Look at Yourself, was nothing short of that. It was their best release, hands down, and the first I could say was perfect from start to finish. The follow up to that, Hindsight, it had some bangers, but didn't quite capture what Look at Yourself had, and wore some influences I already don't care for, a little too on the sleeve, and it definitely had me missing Glass Cloud. We didn't get that, but we got this, a brand new EP from the mind of Josh Travis, and I couldn't be more excited to hear what he has been up to lately. So let's dive into this. The first track is called Web of Lies, and it features Monuments vocalist Andy Cizek and solo Australian musician Stephen Toronto. I'm going to say both of those in hopes one of them is correct. Immediately, I'm reminded of some Danza 4 vibes here. There's obviously some Meshuggah influence here as well. Not vocally, because Andy does more than one thing. But the robotic, relentless polyrhythmic chugs dominate this track. And while Andy's vocals are a bit layered and mired in the mix and a little hard to make out, they add nicely to the chaos. Steven's spot here is some majestic shredding, and it's a highlight of the song for sure. We're off to a great start here. The second track is Leviathan, a song title I'm definitely ready to retire. How many bands have used this? But anyway, this song features Royo from Crystal Lake, who I find to be a great screamer with a pretty dynamic range, and Chad Capper, a vocalist I'm not familiar with. This song definitely got me missing Glass Cloud, bro. I mean, this kind of sounds like a reimagined version of the Glass Cloud song Trap Like Rats, with a very similar break at the 1 minute mark to a part in that song. The two vocalists sound like they are competing to out-brutal each other, and the results couldn't be better. Web of Lies was good, but I like this one better. Track 3, Disdain. This song features vocalist Jamie Hales and bassist Jake Steinhauser from the band Polaris. My limited knowledge of the band Polaris is that they are a bit more melodic, so is that where this track is headed? Nope, not one bit. It's just another addition to the chaos. I'm loving this so far, but this EP hasn't fully shown what Josh is capable of just yet. Let's move on. Track 4, Parallel. This features Jake Wolf of Reflections and composer Daniela Bolin. I hope I said that right. This was very enjoyable. Reminiscent of Danza 4, again, the eerie vibes Daniela brought and the ending breakdown were amazing. Jake sounded great, and the vibe was a little different on this one, which I liked because the vibe on the first 3 were kind of similar, even though I would consider the first 2 tracks to be a little bit better than the third. But this is a top track for sure. Let's see how we're closing this EP out. The final track, All Out War. It features Ryan Kirby of Fit for a King. Polaris, Crystal Lake, and Fit for a King are all fairly melodic, and on certain songs, more accessible metalcore bands. I love how he brought all these guys in and was just like, I just want fucking chaos from you guys. Like, don't bother bringing anything but the brutal. And that's what this track is. It's more of it. This track also sits somewhere in between the styling of Danza 4 and the Glass Cloud EP, Perfect War Forever. It's just heavy with some nice breakdowns, some nice polyrhythms, and yeah, it's a nice conclusion to this EP. It definitely brought together all the best things that this EP has to offer. So most of this release has the sound of Danza 4 and the Glass Cloud EP, Perfect War Forever. Those hoping for elements of Glass Cloud's masterwork, The Royal 1000, or the frantic tapping, crazy tempo change type chaos of Danza number 3, may be a little disappointed in this, but I still really enjoyed this, and it was nice to hear some more complex and chaotic stuff from Mr. Travis again. As far as top tracks, I'd say this EP went out with a bang and put the best 2 at the end, Parallel and All Out War. The first 2 were great also. Disdain is good, but I'd say it's the most forgettable of the bunch. I feel pretty comfortable giving this an 8 out of 10. Very enjoyable, very chaotic, very brutal, much better than Hindsight, obviously, but did leave me wishing for a little more just because it's Josh Travis. A lot of where the vocals sit in the mix on some of the songs made things a bit indecipherable at times. I feel like one chill Deftones-esque section that Josh has done and some frenzied Danza 3 style tapping and more tempo changes in the song would have made this a 10 for me. Well, I hope you enjoyed this review. Just know everything I'm saying here is just my opinion. You might think this is the best thing that Josh Travis has ever done, and that's cool, man. I'm all about the difference of opinion here. My favorite release of Josh's is still Glass Cloud's The Royal 1000. I think that encapsulates everything he is capable of. This EP sounds like an extension of the Glass Cloud EP that came afterwards, Perfect War Forever. If you like that, you're going to like this. There are things this EP has that that one doesn't. So I would say this one sits a little bit above the Glass Cloud EP. But yeah, it's definitely nice to hear from Josh Travis again. I hope he does more solo stuff. I hope if anybody should listen to this, I think it's Frankie from Amur. And hopefully a little bit of this can be put into the next Amur album, because a little bit of this with the vocals of Frankie and the lyrics of Frankie, I mean, it could make some good stuff. But nonetheless, I still had a great time with this. I definitely see myself going back to this many times, and this sits at an 8 out of 10 for me. Thanks for watching.